Building wealth is not really about intelligence. Every day, millions of people make the same promise: next month, I'll finally start saving money. And every month, something happens. A flash sale. A new smartphone release. A vacation everyone else seems to be taking. And suddenly, the money disappears again. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't fail to build wealth because they are bad at math. They fail because they are human. Welcome to the Wealth Psychologist. We like to believe wealth is built through intelligence. That financially successful people must know secret formulas, complicated strategies, or advanced economics. But in reality, wealth creation is surprisingly simple. Spend less than you earn. Save consistently. Invest patiently. Repeat for years. That's the math. And honestly, the math is not difficult. A teenager could understand the basics of wealth building in a single afternoon. So why do so few people actually become financially secure? Because wealth is not primarily a math problem. It's a behavioral problem. In fact, building wealth is roughly 80% psychology, and only 20% math. This idea reflects a principle made famous by the 80-20 principle. The idea that a small number of causes often create the majority of results. And when it comes to money, a handful of psychological behaviors determine almost everything. Let's start with the easy part, the math. Imagine two people earning the exact same income. One spends almost everything they make. The other consistently saves just 20%. Over time, the difference becomes enormous. Why? Because of compound growth. Compound interest is one of the simplest concepts in finance, yet one of the most powerful. Money that earns returns begins earning returns on those returns. Small amounts become large amounts through consistency in time. The math behind wealth is almost boringly predictable. Save regularly. Invest consistently. Avoid high-interest debt. Give it enough time. That's it. Yet most people still struggle. Which means the real battle is happening somewhere else. Inside the human brain. Human psychology evolved for survival, not for long-term wealth building. Thousands of years ago, immediate rewards mattered more than future rewards. If food was available, you ate it now. If resources appeared, you used them now. The future was uncertain. And that ancient wiring still controls modern financial behavior. This is why buying something today feels emotionally stronger than saving for 10 years. Your brain naturally values immediate pleasure more than distant security. Psychologists call this present bias. It's the reason people upgrade perfectly working phones. It's why people buy things they never planned to buy after watching a 15-second advertisement. And it's why saving money often feels emotionally painful, even though saving benefits you. Because psychologically, spending feels like a reward. Saving feels like sacrifice. Wealthy behavior often feels uncomfortable in the short term. That's why psychology matters more than spreadsheets. Modern consumer culture understands your brain better than you do. Every notification, every discount, every limited time offer is designed to trigger dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical linked to anticipation and reward. And companies compete aggressively for your attention because attention leads to spending. Think about online shopping for a moment. The excitement often peaks before the product even arrives. That's dopamine at work. But the satisfaction fades quickly. Then the brain starts searching for the next hit. Another purchase. Another upgrade. Another impulse. This creates what psychologists call the hedonic treadmill. No matter how much you consume, your happiness eventually resets back to normal. Which means chasing happiness through spending becomes an endless cycle. Wealth building requires escaping this cycle. Because financially successful people are not necessarily smarter. They are simply better at delaying gratification. Here's where the 80-20 principle becomes incredibly important. Most financial success does not come from hundreds of perfect decisions. It comes from a few critical behaviors repeated consistently. For example, consistently saving part of your income matters more than finding the perfect investment. Avoiding lifestyle inflation matters more than appearing wealthy. And controlling emotional spending matters more than memorizing financial terminology. In other words, a few psychological habits create most financial outcomes. This is why some high-income people stay broke, while some average-income people quietly build wealth. Income alone doesn't determine wealth. Behavior does. Many people increase spending every time their income rises. A bigger apartment. More subscriptions. More expensive clothes. A bigger car loan. This is called lifestyle inflation. And psychologically, it feels justified. But every increase in lifestyle raises the amount of money required just to maintain normal life. Freedom moves further away. True wealth often looks surprisingly boring. It's discipline, patience, emotional control, and repetition. One of the biggest psychological obstacles to wealth is comparison. Humans naturally measure themselves against others. And social media magnifies this instinct to an extreme level. Suddenly, everyone appears richer, happier, and more successful than you. This creates FOMO, the fear of missing out. People spend money not because they truly value something, but because they fear feeling left behind. And this is incredibly dangerous financially, because comparison has no finish line. There will always be someone with more. Wealth psychology requires learning a difficult skill: emotional independence. The ability to make financial decisions based on your long-term goals, not social pressure. Ironically, many people look rich precisely because they are spending their future wealth today, while genuinely wealthy people often look surprisingly ordinary. The most powerful financial change is not external. It's internal. Wealth building becomes easier when saving money stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like identity. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to save money," financially successful people think differently. They think, "I am the kind of person who values freedom over impulse." That shift matters enormously, because behavior that conflicts with identity feels uncomfortable. If you see yourself as disciplined, reckless spending creates tension. If you see yourself as patient, short-term hype becomes easier to ignore. Real financial transformation is psychological before it is mathematical. So yes, wealth involves numbers. But the numbers are usually the easy part. The difficult part is mastering the human brain, controlling impulses, delaying gratification, ignoring comparison, resisting emotional spending, and staying consistent for years when results are still invisible. That is why building wealth is 80% psychology and only 20% math. And once you understand that, money stops being mysterious. Because the greatest investment you can make is understanding yourself. If this video changed the way you think about money, subscribe to The Wealth Psychologist. Because the better you understand human psychology, the better decisions you make with money, habits, and life itself. And remember, wealth is rarely built in dramatic moments. It's built quietly, through small decisions repeated over time. We'll see you in the next video.